The crisp forest cleared her mind of things she no longer wanted to remember. Now that Scott was out, she could build a life and never think about the years in the lab. Soon the dark green Jeep glittered in the moonlight filtering through the trees. Without slowing, she punched a button on the key remote. Behind her, a powerful boom of an explosion drowned out the double beep of the doors unlocking. A kaleidoscope of red and orange illuminated the night sky. She heard shouts and commands carry through the woods from the compound. A bitter smile stretched her lips. That would keep them occupied for a while. Growing up in the compound, she'd spent countless hours honing her combat skills, but the government-sponsored Black Ops program had also trained her in electronics, cyber technology, and weaponry, including explosives. "I used everything you taught me," she whispered at the flames. She cradled Scott's head as she slid him into the back seat. His eyelids fluttered. For an instant, indigo blue eyes so like hers focused on her. A slow smile spread across her brother's face before his eyelids fluttered closed again. "I knew you'd come for me, Nene." The childhood nickname pierced her heart. "I told you I would," she whispered. She kissed his forehead and brushed back his ink-black curls, the same color as her own spit-straight hair. He mumbled something incomprehensible before his body fell limp against the seat. She clicked his seatbelt into place and allowed herself to touch his face once more before she slid into the driver's seat. A glance in the rear-view mirror told her the lab security forces were too busy fighting fires to come after her. For now. But they would eventually, and when they did, she'd better be ready for them. No way she'd let them imprison her brother or her again. She threw the Jeep into four-wheel drive, hit the accelerator, and pushed the car as hard as she could down the rutted old logging road. Scott's head bobbed back and forth in the rear-view mirror, but he didn't wake up. She swallowed the lump in her throat and pressed harder on the gas. Once they reached the main arterial, she eased off the pedal. No reason to attract attention. She turned the radio to the classical music station. Getting to Dr. Rosen's clinic in Colorado was the most important thing now. The doctor and his team had been sampling her blood for the last 6 months. Hopefully, whatever he had learned would help Scott. Dr. Rosen was the best in his field. More importantly, he was her only hope for curing her brother. She settled in for the 15-hour drive from North Dakota to the exclusive medical facility. 2 days later, Naya struggled to keep her expression neutral as Dr. Rosen leaned forward in his chair, concern glimmering in his emerald eyes. He pushed up the rimless glasses perched on his nose and addressed her by the alias she'd given when they first met. "Ms. Driscoll, I'm afraid there has been no improvement in your brother since his intake." "Maybe we need to give it a little longer before the drugs will work." She resented how her voice sounded. Pleading. She hated not being strong. Dr. Rosen paused, his eyes kind. "I don't think waiting will help. I'm afraid we're going to have to try a different approach." Naya's gaze drifted from the doctor's as she allowed his words to sink in. A bank of windows behind his desk revealed breathtaking views of snow-capped mountains. The clinic's exclusive clientele included media-shy movie stars and foreign dignitaries. It was the perfect place to hide her brother. She also needed it to be the perfect place to cure him. "You said the modified formula your team developed based on my blood looked promising." All that research for nothing. But she refused to give up. There had to be a way to save her brother. Dr. Rosen pushed up his glasses. "We had some promising nerve reactions after the first doses, but Scott reverted back to his vegetative state." "Don't say that!" Naya burst out of her chair. "He's not a vegetable. He holds himself up, supports his body without help." She clenched her fists. "He spoke to me, damn it!" He held up his hands, palms facing her. "That may have been a temporary reprieve from his condition." She slowly sat down again. "Are you saying he's getting worse?" "At this point, I don't have a clear diagnosis. However, unresponsive and bedridden patients run a higher risk of infection, which can lead to respiratory complications, even organ failures. I can remedy that with antibiotics, but I'm not sure I can repair the extensive neurological damage Scott has sustained." To avoid the pity in the doctor's eyes, Naya looked out over the mountains again. Why are the drugs in Scott's blood shutting him down when I'm functioning just fine?